Hello! Yes, and welcome to our video over quiz F.3 where we check our understanding from Unit 3. Now this aligns with numbers 13 through 22 from the final review that's posted on Teams. If you haven't completed this quiz F.3, then I recommend you do that first. This video is meant to more check your work, make sure you understand fully what's going on. But with that being said, let's dive into everything here, see how we're doing. So let's look at number 1. Given f of x is 2x squared minus 9x plus 7, find the vertex, x-intercept, and y-intercept, and sketch a graph. Okay, couple ways to approach this. Since this final is entirely take-home, I'm assuming they're going to want to see a lot of work. So the first thing, the only thing I would recommend doing without work is the y-intercept, which since this is in standard form, we know it's just that C term there, 0, 7. So we have that y-intercept of 0, 7. Now let's go ahead and try everything else. So remember, to find my vertex, it is the opposite of b over 2a, comma, f of the opposite of b over 2a. So opposite of b over 2a would be 9 over 2. Let's see, and that would, or 2 times 2, sorry, 9 over 2 times 2, which would become 9/4. And I would probably just keep it as that fraction for now. So the x value is 9/4. To find the y value, I would plug in this here. It's 9 times 9/4, and then plus 7. Gross, right? So when I square this fraction, I'd get 81 over 16. 9 times 9 is 81 over 4, and then plus 7. 2 times 81 is 162 over 16, minus 81 over 4, plus 7. Now, if you want to give your answer as a fraction, that's fine, but the idea that you have to do it all as a fraction isn't true. So I'm going to use my calculator. So 162 divided by 16 minus, parentheses, 81 divided by 4, close parentheses, and then plus 7, enter. They'll give me a fraction here, negative 3.125. All I need to do is remember math, frac, negative 25/8, and then I can just write that here. 25/8, beautiful. So my vertex would be 9/4, comma, negative 25/8. So 9/4, just a little more than 2, negative 25/8 is negative 3.125. So we'll call that good. It's pretty close. All right. Now, to find my x, my graph's going to be over here, so I'm going to go ahead and use some space here. So 0 equals 2x squared minus 9x plus 7. I'm going to solve this with factoring. So let's see here. 0 equals, I'll need 2x times something and x times something. This is going to be minus 7. This is going to be minus 1. So I'll find that x equals 7 halves. I don't know where. I guess 3 and a half is what I was thinking. And x equals 1. So 1 would be here. 3 and a half, aka 7 halves, right there. So that gives me 4 points. I can mirror this point over. Let's see, it'd be at 5.5. Be 1 more than this one, so 4.5. There we go. And then I can draw my graph here. I'll still label my x-intercepts here. So this was 7 halves, comma 0, and 1, comma 0. And there we go. There's number 1. So vertex, x-intercepts, and then the graph and our y-intercept. So remember, again, I would highly recommend show your work on the test. Okay? Looking at number 2, an application. A rocket is launched by Mr. Janicek's physics class. They plot the data points and create the function listed there to compare the height. What is the maximum height? How long is the rocket in the air? Okay, so for this one, let's use our graphing calculator. Y equals negative 4.8x squared plus 32x, and then plus 2, and graph. Okay, so I need to go much higher, I can see, so I'm going to change my window here. So I need to increase my y maximum. Let's take it to 200. Let's see how that does. Cool. So a little high. You can totally make that work. I'm going to take it to 100 so I can get maybe a little bit better of a picture. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to sketch what this looks like here. And remember, any point that I'm going to use, I need to label. The maximum height I'll get from my vertex. So let's find that vertex. So I'll do second, calculate. I want to find the maximum. Press enter. My left bound, so I need to go to the left of the maximum. Press enter. My right bound, I need to go to the right of the maximum. Press enter. 3.33 comma 55.33. So it's important that we show this work. So the maximum height was 55.33, and this is feet. Now the time, how long is the rocket in the air? So that would be when it comes back down. I need to find that x-intercept. So now I'm going to calculate the 0 of the function, and I need to go to the left of the 0, and then to the right of the 0, and press enter, enter. And 6.728, which would round to 6.73 comma 0. So 6.73 seconds was how long the rocket was in the air. Fantastic. And that's number 2. Okay, number 3, write the polynomial function of least degree with integer coefficients that has the following value as sum of its zeros. Okay, so the first thing I see here is 4 plus the square root of 2. So I know if 4 plus the square root of 2 is 0, I know then also that x must be 4 minus the square root of 2, right? Those conjugate pairs. So we have to be sure to remember those, and those applies to complex, to imaginary numbers as well. So with that being said, I can create my function. It would be f of x equals, x equals 3 would be from the factor x minus 3. And then 4 plus the root 2 would be x minus 4 minus root 2. And 4 minus the square root of 2 would be x minus 4 plus square root of 2. Remember, just change all those signs in the factored form. Fantastic. And that's it for that one. Number 4. Solve the polynomial equation. Okay, be sure to show all work. So, whenever we have this, the first thing we have to do is our p's over q's. Remember that p is the factors of our constant, so that'd be 1, 2, 4, and 8. Q is the factors of our leading coefficient, so that's just 1. So my possibilities are plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 4, and plus or minus 8. Now notice I'm going to have 4 zeros total here. To figure out which one I want to start with, let's graph this guy. So I'll have x to the 4th minus 3x to the 3rd plus 6x squared minus 12x, and then plus 8. And I will hit graph. Now I'm still in this weird window. So let's get this back to a standard. So that's zoom 6. Let's see what we got here. 1, and then maybe that must be 1 and 2. That's possible. Let's try 1, positive 1. So remember, to do that, I can use synthetic division. I just throw the 1 in there. I have 1, negative 3, 6, negative 12, and 8. And if this works, that remainder will be 0. So I start by dropping the 1. That'll give me positive 1, negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. 6 minus 2 is 4. 1 times 4 is 4. Negative 12 plus 4 would be negative 8. 1 times negative 8 is negative 8 and 0. There we go. Okay, so we're confident with x equals 1. And now notice what we got from this. X to the third minus 2x squared plus 4x minus 8. Now this won't always be the case, but it is this time. I believe we can solve this by factoring by grouping. So let's try it. So if I do that, what can I take out of my first? Well, I can take out x squared, and I'd be left with x minus 2. What can I take out of my second? Positive 4, and I'd be left with x minus 2. So that means that x squared plus 4 is a factor, and x minus 2 is a factor. All right, so that tells me that x equals 1. I got that from here. X equals 2, I can get that from this factor. And then I also have x squared plus 4 equals 0. So to solve this, I need to subtract the 4. Take the square root. Square root of negative 4 will be plus or minus 2i. So x equals plus or minus 2i. And there are my 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. There we go. Very nice. Okay. That is it for number 4. Number 5, sketch a graph, identify a domain, all intercepts, and asymptotes. Woof. Okay, so looking here, let's start by factoring this denominator. So I'll have x plus 2 in my numerator over, this will be x plus 1 times x plus 5. So that tells me my domain is all real numbers except negative 1 and negative 5. We can write that a couple ways. You can say all real numbers, x cannot equal negative 1, x cannot equal negative 5. I'm fine with that. Or you could do interval notation as well. Now from this we also get our vertical asymptotes. We're not going to have any holes because none of the factors are in common between the numerator and denominator. So that tells me my vertical asymptotes are x equals negative 1 and x equals negative 5. So let's go ahead and graph those here. Negative 1. Got a vertical asymptote there. Negative 5. Vertical asymptote there. Beautiful. Okay. Horizontal asymptote. So that's the one with the 3 rules. Check your notes. Remember, use your notes when you're taking this final exam. The degree of my numerator is less than the degree of my denominator, which tells me that I have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. Beautiful. Okay, and now my x-intercepts, y-intercepts. First, my y-intercept, plug in 0 for all the x's. I'm left with 2/5. So my y-intercept is 0, comma 2/5, which is going to be just above there. My x-intercepts, I'm going to get from the setting this equal to 0. So it'll be 0 equals x plus 2 over this fraction, which I'm then going to multiply up. So I'll be left with just 0 equals x plus 2, which means that x will equal negative 2. So negative 2, comma 0. And there we go. Now, to solidify this, to really hit it home, let's go ahead and graph it so we can get some more points, make sure we're lining up with everything. So again, put your numerator and denominator in parentheses. So parentheses x plus 2 divided by parentheses x squared plus 6x plus 5. Close those parentheses and graph. And we can see that there. Wow, look at that. Okay, so we can draw this in here. If you want to make it exact and pull points from the table, you are more than welcome to do that. For the sake of time, I'm going to take my best guess here. But there we go. Oh, wow. Nope. Pen got away from me on that one. Let's try it again. Better. We'll call it good enough. There you go. All right. So there's everything we need to know to sketch a graph. Again, if you want, you can use a table and pull some specific points from here. You are more than welcome to do that. There's some nice ones, not many though. So you are welcome to do that there. All right. That's it for this one. There you go. So let me know. Well, feel free to send me an email if we're struggling with anything. hopefully we're feeling confident with Unit 3. Again, this aligned with 13 through 22 from the review. Hopefully we're feeling good. If you're feeling good, feel free to try F.4 next. This is Mr. Carter signing off. I'll see you next time.